Today we will be learning about the reforms of the leaders of Rome and how it impacted the rise and decline of the Roman Empire. This is a timeline of the main leaders of Rome. The rise of the generals was in 133 BC. Julius Caesar was dictator from 48 BC to 44 BC. After him came Caesar Augustus. He was emperor from 27 BC to 1480. Reign of Nero came in 56 AD to 68 AD. The reign of Marcus Aurelius occurred during the pinnacle of the Pax Romana. It was from 161 AD to 180 AD. The reign of Diocletian was from 284 AD to 305 AD. Next came the last main emperor, Constantine. He reigned from 306 AD to 337 AD. And that's a timeline of the main leaders of Rome. During 133 BC, there was chaos in Rome. Generals were rising to power. They were battling constantly. The four armies in the time-lapse represent the many generals and their armies fighting for power. In the end, they knew only one would be left standing. He would become the ruler of Rome. The general that came to power was Julius Caesar. First, we will be talking about the reforms of Julius Caesar. The governing body of early Rome was a republic. A part of a republic was the Senate. The Senate made laws, looked over citizens and armies, as well as judged crimes. Rome was very big, so it could not be controlled by a small Senate. It needed more members. Next, Julius Caesar created more jobs in Rome. This helped the people who were jobless and needed to provide for their families. That was a very smart move on Caesar's part. He was becoming more popular with the citizens. Afterwards, he decided that his soldiers had worked very hard. They deserved more pay. Now he had gained the liking of the citizens and the army. He even allowed people without land to own property. Next, we will look into the reforms of Caesar Augustus. During the time before Caesar Augustus reigned, Germanic tribes and other tribes living around the border invaded Rome. As ruler, Caesar decided he should secure the frontier. Next, Caesar worked on improving the inside of Rome. He glorified it and made it better than before. Afterwards, he established a principate, or a new government that was like a monarchy and republic combined. His other reform was creating a civil service. By doing this, he was getting citizens to participate in matters that usually the government had to take care of. He was taking a brilliant step. Now the citizens were a part of Rome's community. They were part of Rome's community and not just people who lived in it. Now we will be talking about Emperor Nero. Nero was a very cruel leader. He was more focused on self-indulgence rather than the good of the people of Rome. Rather than creating reforms, he was destructing Rome. He spent the money from Rome's treasury. Nero was also accused of setting a fire in the city that he lived in, and while that fire raged, it is said he played a musical instrument. This may be a myth, but it is to represent the cruelty of Nero. His horridness, however, did not end there. It resulted in him persecuting a myriad of Christians. He also killed his wife and his mother. Can you imagine yourself killing your mother? I cannot. All in all, Nero was a bad leader. Now we come to Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He was said to be the last of the 5 good emperors, though he is famous for committing some not good deeds. Marcus Aurelius was known for persecuting the Christians just like Nero. He himself was atheist. He had different perspectives than the Christians. This might have had an impact of his decision on persecuting the Christians. This is a great example of how people refuse to be open-minded, just like it was said in the allegory of the cave. Marcus Aurelius was also known for spreading Stoicism through Rome. It's acting with virtue, duty, moderation, and endurance. We have now reached Emperor Diocletian. By now the Pax Romana has ended and subsided. The first act of Diocletian was doubling the size of Rome's army. Next, he decided that he needed to stabilize the economy. He set fixed prices on goods. Do you see any resemblance in that reform and the way we buy and sell things now? Diocletian also divided the empire into the east and to the west. He ruled the thriving east and assigned another co-ruler for the west. At last we come to the reforms of Constantine. Constantine gained control of both kingdoms, eastern and western. Because of Diocletian, the Eastern Empire was already thriving. The Western, however, wasn't. The Eastern Empire still kept thriving under Constantine's rule, but the Western Empire fell. In the Eastern Empire, Constantine made Byzantium capital and later renamed it to Constantinople. As I said before, the Eastern Roman Empire kept thriving while the Western Roman Empire fell. The Eastern Roman Empire lasted 1,000 years until the Ottoman Turks took over. Here I wanted to show you the rise and decline of Rome through the emperors. You can see that the rises and declines are largely based on the rulers. Thus, Rome's popularity and decline are largely because of its emperors. If the emperor was good, they rose. If it was bad, they had declines. Now that I have proved my point, I bid you a farewell, and the end.